Welcome to this presentation about LAHP's AHRC Collaborative Doctoral Awards. I'm Alison Blunt, I'm the Director of LAHP. I'm very delighted to say that our CDA scheme has now been launched. This is for PhDs that will start in October 2021. And the link here is to the information on our website, which includes the application form and also much more information to supplement these slides. We are also holding two online Q&A sessions. These will both be on Zoom on the 28th of July and the 15th of September, both from 3 to 4. And please do come along to ask any questions that you might have about what a CDA is, about the application process and so on. And you can sign up if you follow these links onto an online form, which is also available on our website. LAHP is a doctoral training partnership co-funded by the AHRC and our 8 HEI partners: King's, the LSE, Queen Mary, the Royal Central School of Speech and Drama, the Royal College of Art, the Royal College of Music, the School of Advanced Study and UCL. All of our CDA students would need to be registered at one of these HEIs, and the main supervisor would need to be a member of staff at one of these HEIs. This is the LAHP team, and the two colleagues that I've highlighted here in bold, Anna Sexton and Valeria Ferrugia, are the colleagues who are taking the lead on the CDA scheme. So what is a CDA? And I should say here that most of the images that I'm using on the slides are ones that relate to our current funded projects, CDAs, or ones that are going to be starting this October. So a CDA is a PhD that's developed and supervised in collaboration between an academic supervisor and an external non-academic partner organisation. LAHP has 90 studentships per year, and we ring-fence 10% of those for CDAs. So ideally we fund 9 a year. CDAs are funded for 3.5 years of full-time study, or the part-time equivalent, and we very much welcome students, both on CDAs and our open studentships, to do their doctoral research on a part-time as well as a full-time basis. And CDA students and other LAHP students can also apply for a further 6 months funded extension to take up a placement, to complete extended training or extended fieldwork. And just to note here that in all of those cases, the final submission deadline is not extended, it remains the same. What are the benefits of a LAHP CDA? Well, there are many benefits, and I would really strongly encourage you to think about CDAs that you can develop and apply for. And just running through some of these benefits. First of all, CDAs enable academic students and the external partner to build new and also strengthen existing research collaborations. CDAs offer routes into PhD research for applicants with significant professional and/or practitioner experience. They enable the student to gain skills, knowledge, access to resources and networks by working closely with the external partner, and that benefits the student's research, but also, and crucially, their future employability, whether that's in academia or in another sector. CDAs enhance the research capacity for the external partner on a clearly defined and relevant project, and a project that's collaborative from the moment of its conception, its design, through to its completion. And also, CDAs enable the development of research impact and engagement in collaboration with the external partner. CDA students also benefit from LAHP's extensive training programme, and I've listed a few examples from our training programme here. I draw particular attention to the language courses and the opportunity for LAHP students to take up and study a wide range of different languages as part of their PhD research. We also have a cohort development programme, a placement scheme, and additional funding opportunities for students to apply to. And also, just to note, we have a staff-led fund as well for staff-led activities. So please do look at that in terms, and you don't need to be a LAHP supervisor to apply to that. You do need to be a member of academic staff within one of our HEIs. Please look at our website and think about activities that you might want to apply for. But we do have a range of additional funding opportunities for our students. LAHP is fundamentally committed to equality, diversity and inclusion in all that we do. And in terms of our studentship competitions, we are committed to the provision of equality of opportunity for all of our applicants. We're committed to a fair and transparent studentship competition for the CDAs and the open studentships. And we are fully committed to treating everybody involved in LAHP equitably, and we do not accord less favourable treatment on the grounds of any of these protected characteristics. We welcome applications for projects across all subjects and approaches in the arts and humanities, and with a wide range of collaborative partners. We do identify 3 priority areas, and we particularly encourage applications that relate to one or more of these. The first of these is the exploration of underrepresented collections, histories, knowledge, traditions, or practices across the arts and humanities. The second is around transformative methods of engagement or practice to address inequity, marginalisation, and/or barriers to inclusion in the arts, culture, and heritage sectors. And thirdly, collaborative arts and humanities research with a wide range of organisations on underrepresentation, diversity, and inclusion. And I've noted in that final one just the very wide range of organisations that we would encourage you to collaborate with as you develop an application. From the public sector, the private sector, the third sector, policy organisations, voluntary, grassroots, activist organisations. Those organisations can be large organisations, they can also be very small organisations. We're very open to your collaboration with a very wide range of external partners. And this is a slide that shows some of the collaborative partners on existing funded CDA projects at LAHP, or ones that are going to be starting this October. And again, to give you a sense of the range of different organisations that CDAs are collaborating with. Now the next 2 slides list all of the CDA projects that we've funded under LAHP, the DTP2. So that's last year and this year. So last year students who've coming to the end of their first year, and then the second slide are the ones who are starting in October. And this is to give you an indication of the range of subjects and the range of organisations that CDA research involves. And I think you'll agree, a really exciting range of very, really fascinating research, research that's a real benefit to those collaborative organisations. And I've just noted at the bottom here that you can read summaries about all of these different CDAs on our website. And this is the link here to go to those summaries. We also have some fuller case studies for you to have a look at as well. I'm going to talk now about the process of applying for a CDA. And the first point to really note here, and this is an important one, is that the lead prospective supervisor is the person who completes and submits the application form. The project should be developed in collaboration with a prospective external partner, and that the application can include a nominated student, but, and this is really important, it doesn't need to do so. So you can name a specific student who you'd want to be working on that CDA, but you absolutely don't have to do so. We are very open to applications that don't name a student. The applications are for the project, okay? And the deadline for applications is 5 o'clock on Friday, the 16th of October. The deadline is earlier than it was last year. We've launched the CDA scheme much earlier in July, rather than launching it in September. So we have brought the deadline earlier. So please do take note of that deadline, and also please let your colleagues know that it's an earlier deadline. If a successful application doesn't name a student, and many of our successful applications don't name students, the CDA will be advertised and the supervisor is responsible for organising the interviews. If you are a prospective student who has an idea for a CDA, please contact a potential academic supervisor in one of our 8 partner HEIs, or email us for assistance in identifying a potential supervisor. And we really are open to those sorts of inquiries. And equally, we are really keen to hear from organisations outside academia who have an idea for a CDA and would like to link up with an academic supervisor to develop and work on an application together. Again, that would need to be an academic supervisor in one of our 8 partner HEIs. And if you aren't sure who to approach or don't already have a link, again, please email us and we will assist in identifying a potential supervisor and do all we can to make the link. But again, just to repeat the key point that all CDA applications must be submitted by the lead academic supervisor, and they must also have support from a named collaborative partner. I'm just going to run through the actual application form. So first of all, we ask about the project, whether it relates to one or more of LAHP's priority areas, a non-technical summary of 200 words, and then the fuller project description, which should be submitted as a 2-page attachment. And this covers the aims, the originality, the methodology, the timescales, plans for dissemination impact, and again, that's with the partner, but also potentially wider audiences too, and also providing further information if the application relates to one or more of our priority areas. Secondly, we ask about the collaboration, about developmental and training opportunities, about the details of the collaboration, and again, whether it's an existing collaboration or whether it's a new one. And again, we're very open to both. We also ask if there is any funding or in-kind contribution that the external organisation is able to make to the student. And I would say that whilst we would certainly encourage organisations, if they're in a position to make a financial contribution to support the student, and recognising the additional work that's involved often with a CDA, this isn't a requirement for a successful CDA application. Please do note the in-kind contribution, and that's in terms of staff time, in terms of space within an organisation, in terms of access to resources and so on. So please do think about what that in-kind contribution would be. And the application would need a letter of support from the partner organisation as an attachment. The third part of the form asks about the supervisors, and we ask for 2 named academic supervisors. This can be on a joint supervisory model or a first and second supervisory model. And we really encourage supervisors to apply who perhaps have less experience of PhD supervision, and one of the reasons we ask for 2 academic supervisors is to enable those colleagues to apply, and we would therefore probably expect that the other supervisor would have more PhD supervision experience. We'd also ask you to name a supervisor from the partner organisation. There isn't an expectation that the supervisor would attend all supervision meetings, but would be part of a wider supervisory team to be closely involved in the CDA as it develops. We also encourage cross-HEI supervision and cross-disciplinary supervision. So please think as widely as possible in terms of who the best supervisors would be for the project that you're wanting to propose. The fourth part of the form is about the student. If there is a nominated student, we ask for 200 words on the suitability of the candidate for the particular project that you're proposing, and also a 2-page attachment with a candidate's CV. If there isn't a nominated student, and it's, as I've said before, completely fine if there isn't a named nominated student, we ask about the details around how you would plan to recruit and select a student, and then specifically we ask about how you would promote the studentship to prospective applicants from BAME and other underrepresented groups. We encourage applicants with professional and/or practitioner experience that's equivalent to an MA to apply for a CDA studentship. As I've already said, CDAs can be held on a full-time or a part-time basis. UKRI have recently announced that up to 30% of a DTP studentships can now be awarded to international students. That is for students who would be starting their studies from 2021. We're waiting for further information from UKRI and HEIs about how we will implement this policy, but the key message at this point is that if you are applying with a named student, it is possible for that student to be an international student on the understanding that we are still in the process of confirming how the difference between home and international fees would be covered. And also, if you're applying without a named student, this information would be available by the point at which successful applications are advertised to students. And finally, nominated students who have already completed 1 year full-time or up to 3 years part-time PhD study are eligible to apply. These are continuing students, and it's possible to name them on an application for a CDA. And the funding, just to note here that the funding would cover the remaining period of their study. These are our assessment criteria and the weightings. So quality and originality of the proposed research, the quality of the proposed collaboration, potential for impact in collaboration with the partner organisation, and the feasibility of the research. And we review and assess applications using the AHRC assessment scale, where 6 is the highest priority for funding, 1 is unfundable, and the sort of cutoff for fundable applications is 4. So 4, 5 and 6 would be seen as fundable, potentially fundable. What we're looking for under each of these headings, I'm not going to read all of these out, but just what the next slides show as the specific things that we're highlighting on our assessment criteria in terms of what we would be looking for in terms of each of the 4 main areas that we're assessing. And note here the relevance of the proposed research, the priority areas, as part of the wider quality and originality of the proposed research that we're looking for. The suitability of the proposal for doctoral research, and also recognising that it is, it is a clearly defined project, but also scope for the student to really make it their own as well. And then the next one is around the quality of the proposed collaboration. And the thing to stress here is that it would really, successful applications really need to be, the collaboration needs to be at the heart of those projects. So it isn't enough to have a collaborative organisation if a student is merely perhaps working in the collections, working in the archives there. It would need to be something over and above that in terms of the collaborative relationship and the collaborative basis of that project. Thirdly, in terms of the potential for impact and the role of the partner organisation and the collaborative opportunities as a result of doing the CDA. And then finally, the feasibility of the research. This is in relation to the supervisor's experience and expertise, the synergy with the research priorities of the wider department, HEI and also LAHP, the suitability of the student if they are identified, but also the planned recruitment of the student if they aren't. All comes under this heading of the feasibility of the research. This is the timeline for the studentship competition this year. So applications are now available on the website. The competition is open. As I've said before, the deadline is 5 o'clock on the 16th of October, and we are unable to accept late applications. So please do make a note of that deadline. The decision, the sort of assessment and the CDA panel meets in November, so you'll hear the outcome fairly soon after the deadline. We communicate that outcome to the supervisors in November. Also note that CDA applicants, and this is different from previous years, that anybody applying for CDA, whether they are a named student on a CDA application or if they want to apply for the CDA project that is going to be funded by LAHP, the applicants need to apply for a place at the HEI of their lead supervisor by the 29th of January. And that is to ensure that we're bringing the CDA competition in line with our open studentship competition, and we're able to complete the eligibility checks in time. And also it benefits you as a supervisor when you're interviewing students for your CDA project, if that is the case, because you will then have their references, you'll have their full application to your HEI, you'll have transcripts of their previous study and so on. So you'll have the sort of full information available, and LAHP and you will know about whether the student is eligible for LAHP AHRC funding. And then in April, so those interviews, if you're holding interviews, would be between January and March. And then in April, the LAHP Studentship Award panel confirms the recruited students as recipients of a CDA and communicates that outcome to the supervisors and sends an award letter to the students. And the students would start their study in October. I'd just like to remind you about the online Q&A sessions that we're going to be holding on Zoom on the 28th of July and the 15th of September. And also to remind you, you can sign up to attend these and to get the Zoom details if you sign up on the online form that's available on our website. The application form and further information are available on the LAHP website at this address. And if you have any questions, we have a dedicated CDA email address, so please do use this one. If you have any questions at all, we'd be very happy to help. And just finally, thank you for listening to this presentation. I hope it's been helpful, but really just to reiterate just what a fantastic opportunity CDAs are for the student, for the supervisor, and also for the partner organisation. Please think as widely, as creatively as you can in terms of ideas for proposals and collaborations that might be existing ones or might be new ones that you'd like to develop. And the very best of luck in preparing an application and submitting it to LAHP, and I look forward to reading them. Thank you.